All right, let's talk about the short game. If you're tired of that feeling, chunking a wedge short or blading one clean over the green, then you are in exactly the right place. We're going to break down how to turn that frustrating, inconsistent wedge game into a reliable, pin-seeking scoring machine.
I mean, it's really a tale of two different golf games, isn't it? On one side, you've got guesswork. And that leads to, well, longer putts, those bogeys that just drive you crazy because you know they were avoidable and your confidence just tanks. But on the other side, that's where we want to be. That's precision. We're talking more looks at birdie, way more up and downs, and a ton more confidence when you step up to the ball. That shift is exactly what we're aiming for today.
So why are we focusing so hard on wedges? It's simple, really. This is where you score in golf. We've got to change our whole mindset. Stop seeing these shots as tricky or dangerous and start seeing them for what they really are, the absolute prime scoring zone. Just think about it for a second. Every single shot you have from 120 yards and in is a real chance to set yourself up for a birdie, or at worst, a tap-in par. But here's the catch. That opportunity only becomes real if you have total control over your yardages. This isn't about power, not at all. It's 100% about precision. Okay, before we jump into the really fun stuff, the drills, we need to get a handle on what actually makes the ball go a certain distance. If we don't get these core ideas, all the practice in the world won't stick. So let's pop the hood and see what really drives a great wedge shot.
And you know what? It really just boils down to three things. First, swing length. Pretty simple, how far back you take the club. Second is tempo. That's the rhythm, the smoothness of it all. And third, and maybe most important, contact quality. You gotta hit the ball cleanly. The drills we're about to dive into, they're designed specifically to help you master these three variables.
All right, let's get right to the heart of it. We're going to walk through 3 drills. They're simple, but believe me, they are incredibly powerful. This is basically your complete toolkit for building a wedge game that you can actually trust when the pressure's on. First up is the clock face drill. Now this one is all about building a reliable system for your swing. The whole idea is to take the guesswork completely out of the equation by giving you specific, repeatable points of reference, just like the hands on a clock. So here's how it works, and it's super methodical. You're going to start by swinging your lead arm back to what feels like 7 o'clock on a clock face. The key here is just being consistent. Hit about 10 balls with that same swing. And now listen, this is crucial. You need to record the average distance the ball carries. Don't get hung up on the one you hit perfectly or the one you hit thin. We want the average. Then you just do the whole thing over again for a 9 o'clock swing and a 10:30 swing. And check this out. After just one good practice session, you'll have your very own personalized distance map. For every single wedge in your bag, you'll know exactly how far a 7 o'clock swing goes, how far a 9 o'clock goes, and so on. This is how you stop guessing and start knowing. You see, it's all about building that rock-solid trust in your swing. When you're standing over a 65-yard shot, you're not just hoping you have the right feel. You know that's your 9 o'clock swing with your 56 degree. That feeling of certainty, it's an absolute game changer out there.
Okay, so once you've got your mechanical system locked in, it's time to add a little artistry. It's time to develop feel. The ladder drill takes you beyond just mechanics and really trains your brain and your body to make those little adjustments, which honestly is what separates the great short game players from everyone else.
For this drill, just pick 4 different targets out on the range. Let's say 40, 60, 80, and 100 yards. Now, here's the challenge. You hit just one ball to the first target, then immediately hit the next ball to the second, and keep going all the way up the ladder, and then you work your way back down. The real goal isn't just about getting the ball close, it's about doing it with the same smooth tempo and the same clean contact for every single shot.
And that is the magic of the ladder drill. It forces you to blend the mechanical swings from the clock drill with those subtle adjustments you need on the golf course. You're basically training your instincts, learning how to calibrate on the fly, just like you see the pros do every weekend. All right, on to our third and final drill. And you could argue this is the most fundamental one of all. The ball flight gate drill. Because let's be real, if you can't strike the ball cleanly and consistently, none of that other stuff even matters. This drill is purely about making sure your contact is pristine. The setup for this could not be easier. You just stick 2 tees in the ground to create a little gate that's just a tiny bit wider than your club head. Your only job is to swing the club right through that gate without hitting either tee. The beautiful thing about this is the feedback is instant. If you nick a tee, you know your swing path is off. Start with little chips, and then, as you get the hang of it, work your way up to bigger and bigger swings.
This really gets to the heart of the matter. Solid contact is the absolute foundation of distance control. You simply cannot have one without the other. This drill doesn't just suggest a better swing path, it pretty much demands it. When you master this, you ensure that every swing you make actually has a chance to produce the result you want.
So we've covered the why, the what, and the how. Now let's put it all together. Let's build a simple action plan that you can take with you to the range next time you go. This is how you build your own personal wedge system. And as you're practicing these drills, just try to keep these 4 little tips in mind. First, always focus on a smooth, unhurried tempo. Second, practice with the same kind of ball you play with on the course. Trust me, different balls can fly different distances. Third, keep that grip pressure nice and light to maximize your feel. And last, make sure you update your distance map every now and then. As you improve, those numbers are gonna change.
And let's finish with this thought, because it's so important. The goal here is not to build some perfect, robotic, overly complicated swing. It's about building a simple, repeatable motion that you can trust. Real consistency comes from this kind of smart, focused practice.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one question to think about. The key to all of this is not trying to master everything at once. Pick one club, one swing, and one yardage to own. So, which yardage are you going to master first?